A man spends a night in custody after allegedly abusing police over the weekend. And the cuttlefish season officially underway in Whyalla.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening, it's great to have your company this Monday night. A Broken Hill man had to be held in police custody on Sunday morning after a drunken outburst towards local officers. The incident started when police were called to a late-night party.
In the early hours of Sunday morning, Broken Hill Police attended a noisy house party on Kalen Street.
During the course of investigating the noise complaint, it was identified that a 28-year-old local man was behaving in a violent fashion.
The man was asked to leave multiple times, but police say he refused. As he was being escorted from the area, he's allegedly dropped his body weight, causing police to carry him.
Yeah, he just fell to the ground, wouldn't get up, wouldn't walk, and had to be lifted and dragged.
Police took the intoxicated man to his Cobalt Street home, but the night didn't end there. A short time later, he came through the doors of the Broken Hill Police Station looking to make an official complaint.
The way to go about that is to come back when you're sober and speak to a senior officer, and it'll be dealt with accordingly. He wouldn't have that. He was directed to leave the station several times.
The man was held in custody until he sobered up. Sergeant Schaefer says he threatened to harm himself while detained.
He was actually taken to the hospital after that, and where he was, due to his behaviour, he was sedated and detained under the Mental Health Act.
The 28-year-old received a $500 fine for continuing drunken behaviour after being told to move on. Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Lincoln police have reported 4 more people for drug driving over the weekend. In one case, police pulled over a 29-year-old woman on Saturday afternoon who returned a positive reading of methamphetamines. Police are expected to charge her with aggravated drug driving, as a child under the age of 16 was also in the car. 9 drug drivers have been caught in Port Lincoln over the past week. And a Hoon driver has tested the patience of police after he was caught speeding 3 times in the space of 3 hours. The 42-year-old man was first clocked 50 kilometres over the limit on the Air Highway on Friday, then twice on the Augusta Highway. His fast trip came to an end hours later when he crashed his car on the Horrocks Highway. He was arrested and charged with dangerous driving and lost his licence for 6 months. A new study reveals a characteristic shared by Australia's heaviest drinkers is their thirst for cheap alcohol. There's been an increase in alcohol consumption in regional areas, including South Australia. Shari Hams has more.
There are fears regional South Australian communities will suffer from alcohol-related issues, with a new study revealing regional communities have the highest rate of consumption. A Foundation for Alcohol Research study shows the top 10% are consuming more than 50% of alcohol nationally, and these heavy drinkers are most likely men in regional communities.
A culture of excessive drinking in the regions that's been well understood, I think, and portrayed in all sorts of ways.
Binge drinking is the bigger issue in regional SA. Remote residents, including in Whyalla, are 46% more likely to harm themselves from the practice, which is 10% higher than metro areas.
Alcohol causes a significant amount of harm to people's health. It's one of the top 3 causes of the burden of disease in our society.
Alcohol and drug expert Michael White says there needs to be a culture change in regional South Australia.
Encourage it as a form of recreation and social engagement.
And if you need support, go to the knowyouroptions.sa.gov.au website.
Tourism operators are confident new funding for marketing campaigns will boost visitor numbers in our region. The state government investment will tap into international markets.
The postcard quality scenes of regional South Australia beamed onto screens across the country and the world. The state government hoping an injection into tourism marketing will pay dividends.
All of the tourism operators I've met over the last 14 months have said marketing is the number 1 priority.
An extra $10 million per year will be invested into campaigns in a bid to grow South Australia's $6.8 billion visitor economy.
Especially interstate and internationals are the ones that we need to try and make sure that we We lure to South Australia.
The message will be spread through digital media, cinema, television and print, both domestically and internationally.
China, I mean, there's a growth market there, so there'll be some target campaigns around there.
The much popular Outback region is expected to be at the heart of the marketing focus.
I suppose being a little bit disconnected from technology, it's a bit of a bucket list for people to come out into the region.
Tourism officers hope the new plan will build off the latest winter campaign, which has proved successful for the far north and Flinders regions.
We've had quite a lot of engagement, especially across social media.
Gives them a lot of confidence, especially when there's some real targeted marketing. Absolutely.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, a region's jetty set for a government review, and Cuttlefest officially underway in Whyalla. Welcome back. Jetties in our region are set to come under review. The state government is developing a strategic plan, with local councils welcoming the investment.
Keeping our jetties above water. The South Australian Government is developing a strategic plan to better look after the state's coastal infrastructure.
It's fair to say that there's quite a number of them that are in disrepair. They haven't had money spent on them, and we actually don't have a sustainable funding source.
Currently, councils are responsible for the maintenance of 35 jetties, with a number of them falling into disrepair. Fisherman's Jetty in Port Pirie has an estimated cost of $2.8 million required to get it up to scratch. A $2.5 million price tag for Tumby Bays to replace piles and decking.
Jetties are recognised for their importance that they have socially and economically, and that their future is understood and made certain into the future.
Port Augusta's mayor has welcomed the government's prioritisation of investing in South Australian jetties, with the town experiencing its own $9.5 million wharf woes. He says funding the upkeep of local jetties is a must.
My perspective needs to be put in place. How do we eliminate that erosion and control that?
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Cuttlefest has kicked off, celebrating the annual cuttlefish aggregation at Point Lowly near Whyalla. An opening ceremony was held on Saturday, with the city preparing for a surge in tourists.
Whyalla's global phenomenon.
We've got 3 months of cuttlefish around. We've got some great programs and some activities. Today we've got some sunshine and coming in blue skies, which has been amazing, and a great crowd that have joined us today for the official opening.
Cuttlefest got underway with an opening ceremony at the foreshore.
Events like yours, it just goes to show the local community gets behind an opportunity.
Activities including a virtual reality tour, crafts, information sessions and cake for everyone to share.
The aggregation of the cuttlefish that's happening here for thousands, maybe millions of years, but now the community is aware of it, and the community is supporting this wonderful natural event.
Whyalla City Council is preparing for a tourist influx.
International camera crews coming to Whyalla specifically to do the underwater photography for the phenomenon that is our cuttlefish.
We've got school groups doing projects, we've got kindy groups making cuttlefish art and cuttlefish kites and those sorts of things. So it's really great to have that community conversation going about how unique it is.
And local community leaders are already planning their tour.
I did it 2 years ago, and I've got to say it was amazing, and I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Interested in getting in with cuttlefish, come and talk to us. We'll get you in the water, get you to have a look.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
They are a remarkable creature. Go and have a dive with them if you get the chance. A new project to bring Indigenous tourism to the Eyre Peninsula is one step closer this week, with Port Lincoln's Bungalla community teaming up with Adventure Bay Charters.
An idea that's been in the pipeline for years, now set to become a reality. The Lower Eyre Peninsula's Bungalla community kickstarting an Indigenous tourism adventure, the first one in Port Lincoln.
Partnership joint project that Adventure Bay and the Bungalla people of Port Lincoln have started looking at to share knowledge and heritage and history.
The project offering visitors a seafood bay cruise, sharing the stories and languages of Indigenous culture, the local Bungalla community operating and running the tours.
The more that we speak language and the more that we share the language, it breathes life into our community and into our landscape, and it's reawakening and reconnecting with our ancestral spirits.
The Bungalla community approaching Adventure Bay Charters last November with the idea. Matt Wallace says there's a big demand for Indigenous tourism.
It's a real opportunity and it's something that we're looking forward to developing. I think it has great potential, both in sharing those stories but also in promoting the seafood industry you have today.
Trials will begin later this month, with plans to have it fully operating by October. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A Port Pirie dentist has won a prestigious Governor's Multicultural Award for their service, which looks after more than 5,000 patients in South Australia. Ninnis Dental Group has created more than 100 jobs in regional SA.
It was all smiles at Ninnis Dental Group when the news came through that they had received a private sector Governor's Multicultural Award.
The credit goes to all my staff, past and present, and also all my patients, and of all the hard work we have put in the last 2 decades.
Dr. Nanny has won this award. We regard ourselves as a close-knit little family and we are very proud.
The awards focus on celebrating the cultural and economic benefits migrants and refugees bring to SA. And truth be told, Ninnis Dental Group was the perfect match for the criteria, currently employing migrants from 14 different nationalities.
And we speak like 20 different languages in the practices. And it's very humbling to know that my staff come from various cultures, various backgrounds.
The group has prided itself on looking internationally, sponsoring overseas children's education and conducting free camps for multicultural groups.
Basically, provide as many jobs as possible to the country people, train them and give the best services to all the patients in a affordable way.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Congratulations to all involved there. Stay with us after the break. Garth Burley will have the weekend footy wrap and I'll have the latest weather details. Hello again. An AFL pre-season game could be played in Broken Hill as early as 2021. The speculation comes as the city's major oval undergoes a multi-million-dollar facelift.
A pre-season AFL game in the Silver City, league officials say it's on the cards.
When we were informed in September last year we were successful with our New South Wales State Government grant and other funding opportunities, we approached the AFL straight away about a JLT pre-season game.
After the success of the Crows and Power game in Port Pirie this year, AFL Broken Hill is keen to host a similar matchup. Jubilee Oval will soon receive a major upgrade to its facilities, giving the city a strong case.
You can't lobby for these games unless you can provide what the AFL wants. We've started that process. We've got a lot of work to do.
Upgrades off the field, including new change rooms and amenities, will be well received, but it's the field itself that will also need attention.
There's only one day a week where there's nobody on Jubilee Oval. Get some of the foot traffic off it so that when the AFL comes up to have a look at our facility, we tick all the boxes.
Mr Schmidt says the Adelaide Crows have expressed interest in coming to town. He hopes, given Broken Hill's presence in their recruiting zone, the GWS Giants could be their opponent.
Not only does it enhance your sport, not only does it market your sport by having the best players here, but it's also an opportunity financially for the local league to make some money.
Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Turning to local footy now, and South Augusta continue to stake its claim as one of the sides to beat in the SGL this year, with a win against a dogged West Augusta. Garth Burley has the weekend wrap.
Despite the scoreboard indicating a comfortable win to Souths, West Augusta did push the reigning premiers for most of the match, down by only 13 points at the main break. The Bulldogs forwards kicked 3 on their return from the half, but the Hawks responded with 3 of their own. There was no love lost between the rivals, things threatening to boil over in the fourth quarter. But the distraction did nothing to stop South Augusta, Gary Warren booting 4 goals for the match to help his side race home for a 38-point win. In the other matches, Sollies continue to build on their strong start to the season with a big win over Central Augusta, and Proprietary Risdon won in a low-scoring affair against Port. To Port's Lincoln, where Tasman remain unbeaten, Mallee Park were victorious by a 10-point margin, and clash of the cellar dwellers, the Boston Tigers snagged their first points for the season. Some big scores in the Great Flinders League, with both United Yelena and Tumby Bay booting over 20 goals each in their wins, and the Cougars inched over the line by 5 against Ramblers. In Whyalla, second-placed Centrals defeated Waroona Bay, North Whyalla had a huge win, and West celebrated Shannon Witters becoming the club's record games holder, defeating Souths by a whopping 198 points to make it 8 from 8 this season. In the northern areas, Crystal Brook were victorious by 77, BMW by 67 and Broughton Mundura by 33. On the Yorke Peninsula, Eagles, Moonta and Baskerville all got the points, while Wallaroo fell short in a thriller against the Crows. No local footy in Broken Hill this weekend, with the representative team travelling to Roxby Downs to battle against the Far North for the Miners' Cup. The teams toing and froing for the entire match, both sides forced to share the cup after no side could break the deadlock. Mark Purcell was the best player on ground for Broken Hill. It's hoped the fixture will return again next year. So there's all your weekend footy action, and I'll be back tomorrow with the rest of sport. Back to you, John.
Thanks, Garth. Weather time now, and it was a dry but cool start to the week. Temperatures ranged in the mid-teens across the region. Port Augusta reached a top of 16 degrees, Whyalla and Port Lincoln 15, Broken Hill 13, Port Pirie 15, and partly cloudy and 14 in Adelaide. On the satellite, patchy cloud over southern South Australia is creating lines of gusty showers. Higher cloud in the west, however, is not producing any rain, with skies clear inland. Tomorrow's waters, southerly winds reaching 20 knots, seas at 1.5 meters, and sunrise is at 7:17 tomorrow morning, with sunset at 5:18. A mixed bag tomorrow. Port Augusta cloudy and 15 degrees, Whyalla 14, Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay showers and 15, Woodna 15, Quorn 14. A cool one in the Silver City reaching just 12 degrees, Port Pirie 15 and Adelaide reaching 14 degrees. Looking ahead to the next 4 days, clearing up in Port Lincoln Wednesday, 16 on Thursday and 17 and sunny on Friday. Cleve will see dry conditions by the end of the week, and cold mornings in Woodna will lead to frosty but sunny conditions. Whyalla will be 14 and sunny Wednesday, 15 Thursday and 17 Friday. Dry in Port Augusta and warming up throughout the week, reaching 19 and sunny by Friday. And Kadina will be cool but dry, 15 Wednesday, 14 Thursday and 16 Friday. Port Pirie can expect dry conditions this week, reaching 18 on Friday. A bit cooler in Clare, just 12 degrees Wednesday, 13 Thursday before warming up to 15 Friday. And Broken Hill will be sunny but frosty through until the end of the week. And that's the local news this Monday evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'll have some updates later in the evening, but until then, enjoy your night's viewing here on 7. On behalf of the team, it's good night.